everyone, this is Emily,
Stephanie,
and today we're going to do a different type of video. We're going to talk a little bit about how our book routines, how we actually end up getting the books we want to read, and books that we haven't yet read before, and a little bit about the ebook options, ebook reading options out there, like apps related that can also help you source out the sort of stories you want to know. So to start out, Stephanie, how do you usually try to get the books that you want to read?
Okay, so I have a very antiquated method of doing this. Mainly because first of all, I use Goodreads. That's like my Bible in terms of finding books to read. Just because it's easy, it's user friendly. I've used it for so long. I think I used it the past 10 years. So I know Goodreads pretty much in and out, and I use that in terms of finding books I want to read, books I've read, books I'm currently reading, all those regular standard shelves that you find on Goodreads. So because there was a time lapse in my life where I didn't really read much, there was 1 or 2 years, I find myself kind of catching up to books still written in 2014. And then
that's cute, actually.
Because I'm a very for me, I process things very straightforward. So for me, it's kind of if I have this book on my to be read list, TBR list as number 1, I need to start from number 1. I hate jumping from to number 457, for example, because unless it's a book that's one given to me by an author or a publisher, or if I'm doing it for this or something, then I try to actually read it in order of what my TBR, because the whole thing about Goodreads is based on when you add it into your shelf. So obviously, if you add it as number 1, that means you've been wanting to read that book for the past 10 years. So, for example, so I go off that, and then once I find a book, as I go down the list, I go through various outlets. I try to find if they have the library. If they have the library, is it a hard copy? It's a hard copy. Great, perfect. I'll get it from there. I try to get it because for me, the ebook from the library doesn't really work for some reason. I don't know why. I went to talk to the librarian before, and he was just oh, I'm not sure. Call the technical support. And I'm I don't have time to call technical support. I just want to get this, get the book and be done with it. So I think the only thing that works for me is 3M, not Overdrive. It's the other version. Okay. So I just kind of avoid, from that point, I just avoided all ebooks, audiobooks from the library. I only get it from the library if it's a hard copy. So I try to look on there. If they have it, great. I try to look on ebooks. So I'll go through, if it's an older book, then it might be a little more difficult. But for books that are more recent, I can get through NetGalley, which is usually advanced reader's copy. So I can kind of see based on what I know that's most popular in the past few months or so, I can get advanced read copies from there. Usually they kind of approve it pretty much immediately for me. So that's a good option as well. I also use AnyWhite, which is it's a new option, but I just heard of it recently, and I've been going on there and scouring their entire catalogs from all the big publishers. So you go through the list, you check off which you can accept review copies, and then you request it. So when you get approved, they send you an email, and you can automatically download to your Kindle, if you have a Kindle. So that's another option that I use as well. And then finally, I use audiobooks. So if they have it on Audible, I will try to use that. But just different ways, different channels are trying to obtain the books that I can get. But then also for physical copies, not only do I get it from the library, there's a lot of times when I get it from the publishers and the authors themselves, because I do have a blog, and I've been blogging for 2 years now. So I do have quite a number of publishers and authors who reach out to me on a regular basis asking me to review their book. And from that, they will either send me ebooks or they will send me the hard copy. But recently, I've been just trying to get into hard copies because there's just so many books on ebooks. On my Kindle, I have 400 books on there. I'm not going to honestly put your book as a priority just because I have 400 books on there. As opposed to with a hard copy, I'm oh wait, that book is right staring at me. I should probably read it. But Kindle is it's virtual, so you're not going to really remember a lot of the books that you had requested or were given to you by authors and publishers.
Cool. So for me, I read a different type of genre than you.
Mhm.
So but when I do want to read like YA
Mhm.
or I guess more like genre fiction, I mostly go on Kindle. So like Kindle obviously is Amazon and it's a pretty well known sort of
Right.
application. So you can find it on Android or iPhone or anywhere like that, as well as its own device.
Right.
And so from there, you could actually use their services like Kindle Unlimited, where like you pay a certain subscription and you'll definitely get a whole selection of books to
Or
read.
if you already have Amazon Prime, then you get like free books as well.
Oh, but it's like
It's
one or two, right?
No, it's called like Prime Reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for that, you can kind of actually, if you're eligible for, if you have Prime, then you get, some books are Prime Reading or something, and you get that for free.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And then you could also go using Kindle. You could also, as you said, NetGalley. I'm going to add just one more to that list called Bookbub, because Bookbub is like a Boston like startup that also kind of does push outs on like free or even like really cheap like ebooks. So like if you're into any sort of genre like vampire romance or historical romance or like anything related, even nonfiction, like some of the picks out there are really funny. They base their entire like algorithm on Amazon, so a good portion of books that you can get from Bookbub, you can get it for cheap. And so that's also a good option to get any sort of stories that you want to read at the moment on a whim. So from there, though, there's also sources like I sometimes use Scribe, but not always, because I don't have a steady subscription to it, but it's a subscription service. It's a lot like the Netflix for books. So if you like the category of books that they have and you don't really want to like it's basically like Kindle Unlimited, you don't want to like pay for each one, then you can do that as well. And then there's one that we haven't really mentioned that I'm kind of on now because I do write, is Wattpad. So it is a good platform for emerging writers, but that also means that it's a good platform for readers.
Right.
If you like reading emerging work. So I know that like that I'm chuckling about it because sometimes some of that stuff can be quite a nightmare, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like the stuff that like people throw out in terms of first drafts are just awful. Like they're just awful. But like if you happen to be like one of those people who want to be like a bona fide literary agent and you're like, I want to figure out what's going to be the next big hit, I'm assuming that a lot of it's going to come out of like Wattpad and stuff, because a lot of agents actually read through that whole like, it's basically a virtual slush pile for them. So I think that if you're interested in finding like new work, like indie work, that's really the place to go outside of Amazon, of course.
Right.
And then the last pick, which you actually mentioned a little bit earlier, was Overdrive. So I use Overdrive a lot.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't work for me.
I'll try to help. I'll help you. Okay. So like Overdrive is my to-go because I love libraries. I feel like most people underutilize them a lot. And unfortunately, I don't have the patience to get a hard copy because for me, I actually have to walk a lot because I live in Brooklyn, she lives in Manhattan. And so I have to actually ask like them to like hold it, and
and then you hold it to your. It's so easy.
Yeah, but it's like I'm too impatient. I'm just like
I just go on the website. I'm like hold it to my nearest. Like mine is like Grand Central is like a block for me. So I just like hold it, and then I'm just like and that I don't have to like. For me, it's like I do things in advance. That's the thing. So I'll be like, oh wait, I think I'm almost on these books, these like pile of books. Yeah. I can start holding the next set of pile of books. Okay. So by the time I actually finish it, the books have arrived, and I just go one stop over, one block over, and just pick it up.
Your reading routine is very like prescriptive. It's like very like here's
like I said, like I have that TBR list, so I already know exactly what books I'm like what's next.
Yeah, I'm not like that at all. Like I actually tend to get most of my recommendations either from you in terms of fiction, or from most of my friends. So like a lot of times it's word of mouth, or I go online a lot and just randomly scroll through really random things. Actually, I don't even have the vocabulary for it because you see my tweets. They're so strange. Yeah, but like I'm calling myself strange. But so because
strange.
Continue. Whatever. Anyway, so like sometimes on Amazon, I'll like be like, oh, there's like this really interesting author. Like I like the theme of her book. I'm just gonna click on there and then like try to like scroll through her catalog and be like, yeah, I might want to read that and I want to read this. So I'm kind of like a wish list type of reader. Where like I'm very like impulsive. It's like, oh, I want to read this, I want to read that, but I won't necessarily like buy it until I've read it at least once. So I my reading routines definitely, other than like advanced copies that are often from you, or book of the month, or things that I've done subscriptions to, I generally try to check it out from the library, maybe via ebook, and read it on my commute. And then if I really do like it, I feel like I'm going to read it again, I'll buy it.
Yeah, like I'm not, I think it may be like in the Asian side of us, but I don't like buying books unless I know if they're good or not. Because I mean, there's some authors that I already know, like they're great authors. I love them so much that I'm gonna buy it. Like it's fine, you know. Like I like Jodi Picoult, for example, or like Marissa Myers, or like and then some other like or like Kristen Hanna, for example. Like those books, for some reason, like all of their books I've liked. So for me to kind of invest in one of their books, I'm totally okay with, because I know from experience that I've enjoyed their other novels. But for other authors, especially, like I'm sorry, debut novel authors, but the chance of me buying your book is going to be a lot slimmer, because I don't really know your type of writing style and like the plot and how it is. So I'm definitely the type of person who wants to read the book first before I decide if I want to purchase it.
Yeah. For me, I probably already like proclaimed as one of those type of people too. But I think I'm but the thing is, I'm more like that with nonfiction. Because I feel like nonfiction should be more informational, and if I don't find your information very useful, then what's the point? But I think for fiction, I'm more likely than you to actually pick up like a debut author, mostly because I want to be a debut author. So I only think it's fair. There's I mean, I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but I do feel like there's sort of like a stigma among even the writing community to never read like emerging writers.
No, I have nothing against debut authors.
No, I'm not saying you are.
Yeah, I've read them.
A lot of writers who like want to be published don't read like their like fellow writers' work sometimes. So and I'm just like, that's so strange.
What I've noticed, to be honest, is that a lot of debut authors will read other debut authors' book. And then when they kind of like read, you know, when their book is published, I think once they become like an established writer, they maybe stop. I don't know, it might be wrong, but this is what I've noticed personally, that they start, you know, that's when they start, you know, reading like other works, not necessarily from debut authors. But I do know that debut authors tend to be very like, you know, if you're a debut author, I'm a debut author, we should read each other's book, you know? Because like, I mean, this also shows a lot too, because like
it's camaraderie.
It's the camaraderie, exactly. And you know, they're going through the same struggles, they're anticipating for the same thing, etc. So it makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I have nothing against debut authors or anything like that. It's just, and I do enjoy, and I've read a lot of their books before, but it's just, in terms of purchasing it, I need to read it first. Like,
makes sense.
Yeah, like if I'm going to commit like money and like, you know, more time to it, I better make sure I like it first.
Right.
You know, because if I'm going to purchase your book, that means I'm going to at least read it another once or twice.
Yeah.
So that's more time put in. That's just not just money. So for me, I think that's really important.
Yeah. So I think even when we were younger, I think the first time I ever really picked up a series was at the library. So it definitely like had to start off free.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh wow, I really like this author.
And it didn't help, because when my mom would be like, well, Stephanie, you just go to the library and get it. Why did the pay for it?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think I was raised in that kind of environment too. That I'm like, yeah, why would I go buy it if I can get it in the library first?
Yeah, I think it's definitely one way to get like stories, and we've definitely like talked about a little bit of like how we get books. So like if you happen to feel like that was, if you also do such things and you're like, you have other tips for us in terms of getting books that we want to read, please tell us in the comments below. More in terms of, in general, like if you happen to disagree with us about the way we read books, that could also be more of a discussion that we'd be happy to respond to down below as well. So other than that, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Yep. So that's a little bit about our book routines and how we end up actually getting the books we want to read. Feel free to, again, comment down below, and we'll see you later. Bye.
And don't forget to subscribe and like our video if you liked it.
That's true. Yeah, Bye.